After my family went bankrupt, my fiancé, Thaddeus Blackwood, firmly broke off our engagement and chose Vivian Winters instead. It was Sterling Knight who helped me clear my debts and arranged my father's funeral, rescuing me from financial ruin. For the next 3 years, he remained steadfastly by my side. Just when I believed I had found my salvation, I overheard a conversation between Sterling and his friend the day before our wedding. "Do you really plan to marry Arabella Frost? Aren't you afraid she'll eventually discover that you orchestrated her father's death and her family's bankruptcy?" "Vivian has already married Thaddeus," Sterling replied. "I might as well marry her. And if she finds out, so what? I paid off her debts and gave her father a proper burial. I've done right by her." Only then did I realize that Sterling had deceived me too. From beginning to end, I was the only one truly invested in this relationship. I stood outside the door, catching every word of the conversation between Sterling Knight and Cale Fabian. The fruit platter in my hands trembled as my body shook slightly. "Don't you have any regrets?" Cale asked. Hearing Cale's doubtful tone, a flicker of hope unexpectedly ignited in my heart. "Everything was for Vivian. I have no regrets," Sterling replied. Upon hearing this, Cale rubbed his forehead in frustration and tried his best to persuade him. "So what if you helped Vivian secure her position in the Winters family? She still chose Thaddeus Blackwood. Do you really want to hurt someone who loves you for the sake of someone who doesn't?" Sterling's face remained expressionless as he looked at Cale seriously. "Regardless of who Vivian chose, that's her freedom. I only wanted to help her. As for Arabella, she loves me so much that not marrying her would be the real harm. She won't get hurt as long as she doesn't know the truth. I'm protecting her here." Cale was left speechless by Sterling's twisted logic. As for me, I could not help but force a smile. I smiled at my own blindness, my own stupidity, and at the past 3 years of my life. During those 3 years, I had seen Sterling as my savior, my redemption, only because he had stood by me when the entire Ocean View city mocked me. He not only helped me clear my debts but also arranged my father's funeral. I found a new shelter in my downfall because of him, and because of him I harbored no resentment when Thaddeus abandoned me. Yet now, his conversation with Cale told me that everything was a lie. I had actually planned to marry the man who destroyed my family. Footsteps sounded inside the room. I could not think of anything else. I could only flee back to my BDR room. After Cale left, Sterling returned to the room and stood before me, taking my hands in his. "Your hands are so cold. Are you sick?" he asked, placing his hand on my forehead to check my temperature. "You're not feverish, Bella. Are you feeling unwell?" Looking at Sterling's worried face, I felt nothing but horror. He clearly did not love me, yet he could always act as if he loved me to the bone. I gently shook my head and pulled my hands away from his, smiling faintly. The window was open. "Perhaps it's just because of the wind." Sterling heard this and walked to the window, closing it while cautioning me. "You're fragile. You shouldn't be keeping the windows open all the time. What if you get sick? It'll break my heart." In the past, hearing such words from Sterling would have made me smile brightly and cling to him affectionately, but now I remained silent. He noticed my low spirits and crouched down to meet my eyes. "Tomorrow's our wedding day. Are you not happy to marry me, Bella?" After overhearing his conversation with Cale, I felt lost in confusion, unsure what to do. It was Sterling's words that reminded me. I did not want to marry him now. I needed to leave, worried he might detect something amiss. I quickly reassured him. "Maybe it's pre-wedding jitters. Don't worry, I'll be fine." Sterling smiled. "Bella, don't be anxious. I'll always be by your side." He had said the same thing 3 years ago, and throughout those years, he had indeed kept his word. I had thought it was because he loved me. Now, I realized it was for atonement and to keep me under control. "Bella, let's go decorate our room at the new house." Sterling's words interrupted my thoughts, and I could only nod in agreement. Our new home was located in West End, an extremely luxurious villa. I loved it the first time I laid my eyes on it. Sterling told me he had chosen the house according to my preferences, yet unlike the joy I felt the last time I visited, stepping into this villa now made me feel cold all over. The man before me was my enemy, the person responsible for destroying my family. How could I possibly find this house welcoming? As I struggled to compose myself, Sterling's phone rang. It was Vivian's special ringtone. I had once argued with Sterling about this ringtone, but he told me it was because Vivian was his business partner. His gaze had been so sincere when he said it that I had no choice but to believe him. Despite my discomfort, I never mentioned my dissatisfaction to Sterling again, fearing he would think I was being difficult. But now, hearing this ringtone again felt like a lifeline. Sterling glanced at me awkwardly before answering the phone and walking away. When he returned shortly after, he appeared anxious. "Bella, there's an issue at the company. I need to go immediately. You start with the decorating, and we'll finish the rest together when I return." Without waiting for my response, he headed for the door. I felt relief mingling with a hint of heartache as I watched his departing figure. He never once looked back. I had been foolish before, deliberately blind to what was happening. Sterling always responded promptly to Vivian's calls, no matter what he was doing. Once he answered Vivian's call even while we were being intimate. The moment he heard crying on the other end, he immediately got Dr. Essed and left. From beginning to end, he never spared me a glance or offered a single word of explanation. As soon as Sterling left, I went to 2nd District Hospital. In my recollection, although our family business had faced a crisis that led to my father being hospitalized, not once had any doctor told me my father was in mortal danger. They had only said he needed rest. 3 years ago, I was too naive. I could only panic when faced with the sudden tragedy, but thinking carefully now, everything had happened far too quickly. I came here to look for Dr. James Lewis, my father's attending physician back then. "Dr. Lewis, what exactly was the cause of my father's death?" I asked. Dr. Lewis looked at me with surprise, and he appeared even more puzzled upon hearing my question. "You don't know?" I shook my head. "Your father committed suicide. Didn't anyone tell you?" Dr. Lewis' words struck me like a bolt from the blue, leaving me frozen in place. I opened my mouth, but I could not utter a word. Dr. Lewis sighed and patted my shoulder. "You still haven't come to terms with it. You need to find a way to accept your loss." I forced the corners of my mouth into a miserable smile and said goodbye to Dr. Lewis. On my way home from the hospital, I felt dizzy and disoriented, even bumping into several people along the way. When my father passed away, it was Sterling who informed me of the news. During that period, I was constantly in the hospital by my father's bedside and ended up losing a significant amount of weight. Concerned for my well-being, Sterling had volunteered to watch over my father so I could go home and rest for a day. Yet on that very day, I received the devastating news of my father's death. Sterling had held me as I sobbed uncontrollably, telling me not to go near my father's body. He promised he would always be there for me, and he told me not to be afraid. It turned out he had embraced me to prevent me from discovering that my father had committed suicide. Realizing this, I could not help help but slap myself hard across the face. What kind of monster had I fallen in love with? As I was owning in regret, I heard a voice I had not heard in a long time. Arabella, it's been a while. Vivian was confident in my yard, sitting on the swing with a smile as she looked at me. How did you get in? I asked. I had never liked her, especially after Thaddeus abandoned me for her. I just could not bring myself to smile at her. Vivian walked toward me, still smiling, with the passcode. Of course, Sterling's passwords are always so predictable. It's 0717, my birthday. Hearing this, my heart immediately sank. All of Sterling's passwords were 0717. I had asked him about it before, and he told me it was the day he made his first fortune. Ridiculous as it sounds, I had even celebrated his success with him on July 17th. Do you like the swing? I mentioned to Sterling during one of our conversations that I'd love to have a swing installed in the yard someday. It would be so much fun. I never thought he'd remember. Vivian spoke as she walked into the house, making herself completely at home. Wow, is this the painting Sterling brought back from Morden? She asked excitedly, pointing to the artwork hanging by the second-floor staircase. Without waiting for my answer, she continued, I can't believe he actually bought it. Too bad Thaddeus wouldn't let me keep it, or I never would have left it with Sterling. She finished with a conspiratorial wink in my direction. I followed silently behind her, torturing myself by listening to her words without response. The carpet was a gift from Vivian, the painting was one Vivian loved, and the interior style was Vivian's choice. Everything in this home had been designed according to Vivian's preferences. Foolish me had actually believed Sterling had chosen this house, especially for me. Now, I felt like a visitor with both Vivian and myself standing here. Compared to Vivian, I was far more of a stranger to this house. Hey, is this your wedding photo? Your wedding dress is exactly the same as the one I wore for my bridal photo shoot. It seems you really are my substitute, Vivian remarked with a mocking smile.